The air shimmered slightly as the portal closed behind him. Marek blinked a few times, his boots crunching the gravel beneath him. Earth still felt real. The wind, the scent of pine, the fading warmth of the sun, it all grounded him, despite what had just happened. Just an hour ago, he had been in his workshop, fixing an old satellite drone for spare credits. Now, he was a married man, bound by oath to an alien woman he had never seen before. Marek wasn't rich or famous. He was just a tinkerer living on the outskirts of Terra 5's new colony. Humans and aliens had begun coexisting after the Galactic Accord. Trade had opened, and some species began visiting Earth, even settling. But no one expected marriage proposals, especially not like this one. It started with a message beamed directly to his terminal. It didn't have a name, just a soft voice and a blurry image. The woman's words had been strange, yet oddly calming. Human, I seek. A bond, not of convenience, but of survival. If you agree, the ceremony will be instant. I shall come to you when the stars align. He should have deleted it. Any sane man would have. But there was something in her voice. A quiet strength. A desperation hidden behind poise. And maybe a touch of longing. So he agreed. He didn't even know her name. Marek rubbed his temples, sitting on the edge of his workbench. His home was the same. Bare walls, scattered tools, and shelves packed with old tech. Except now, there was something new. Someone. From the far corner of the room, he felt it before he saw her. A shift in the air. A soft pulse, like music humming through his bones. She stepped out of the shadows, tall, elegant. Her skin glowed like moonlight, smooth and opalescent. Silken strands of deep violet hair fell across her shoulders, and her eyes, oh, her eyes, were like pools of shifting starlight. She was breathtaking. Marek, she said softly, you accepted. He stood up slowly, his heart thudding. Yes, he replied, his voice a little hoarse. I did. She walked closer, her movements smooth, almost like she floated. There was a grace in her presence that felt otherworldly, but not cold. She stopped only inches from him, and her scent, like distant rain and wildflowers, filled his senses. My name, she said, is Ciliara. Ciliara, he repeated, the sound unfamiliar but beautiful. I am of the Arindi, she continued. Our kind are fading. Our time in the stars is nearing its end. But our bloodlines, our legacy, can survive through union. Through love, if it may grow. Marek blinked. Love? She tilted her head. I know not if it will come, but I wish to learn what it means. With you. There was a long silence between them. Then her fingers reached for his hand, lightly, gently, as if asking permission. He let her take it. Her touch was warm, not cold like he expected. Her fingers were slender but strong, and the soft glow of her skin pulsed where they touched. This is our night of binding, she whispered. Not just in oath, but in trust. We may share space, warmth, breath. Nothing more unless your heart desires it. Marek's breath caught. No alien had ever spoken to him this way, not even the ones he'd done repair work for. I don't know what to expect, he admitted. Neither do I, she said softly. But may I stay beside you tonight? He nodded. She smiled then, real and soft. And it did something strange to his chest, like a string had pulled tight inside him. Marek prepared the guest room, but Ciliara shook her head. May I remain near? Your scent is calming. It slows my heart. He chuckled, surprised. I didn't know humans had that effect. You, she said, moving closer again. Have something rare. Your soul is open. They lay side by side on his narrow bed, not touching, just existing. He could feel her presence in every breath, every heartbeat. Her long hair fanned across the pillow. When she finally closed her eyes, the glow of her skin dimmed slightly, like a star at rest. And Marek? He couldn't sleep. Not because he was afraid, but because he'd just married a woman from beyond the stars, and somehow the strangest part was how right it felt. The morning sunlight crept across the floorboards, warm and golden. Marek stirred awake to the soft sound of breathing beside him. For a moment, he thought it had all been a strange dream, a vision his lonely mind had cooked up after too many. Late nights and too little sleep. But then he turned his head. Ciliara lay curled beside him, her body still, peaceful. Her long hair shimmered like strands of violet silk against the pillow. Her skin, no longer glowing like last night, had taken on a soft silver hue under the morning light. She was real. And she was still here. He didn't want to disturb her, but as he shifted slightly to sit up, her eyes opened. "I didn't mean to wake you," he said quietly. "I wasn't truly asleep," she whispered back, her voice slow and gentle. "Your dreams, they called to me, so full of color, of warmth." Marek chuckled, brushing a hand through his messy brown hair. "You can sense dreams." "Only those I'm bound to," she replied. "Irindi bonding is not just physical, it ties our minds, slowly, like threads weaving together." He blinked. "So, you can read my thoughts?" "No," she smiled softly. "Only the ones your heart allows." Marek wasn't sure how to reply to that. He rubbed the back of his neck and stood, heading toward the small kitchen area. "You hungry? I've got synth bread, some eggs, and, fruit that hasn't gone bad." "I do not consume solids as you do," she said, rising gracefully from the bed and walking toward him. "But I would like to sit with you, to watch, to learn." He made breakfast, while Ciliara sat nearby watching with wide, curious eyes. She asked about each movement, each spice, the sizzling sound of oil in the pan. It was strange, but also nice, to have someone notice such small, ordinary things. "Your hands," she murmured, "move with such care, like you're building something, not just cooking." Marek smiled. "I guess I'm used to fixing things." "You will not need to fix me," she said quietly. He looked up at her, unsure what to say. But her expression softened into a smile. "Though I hope you will be patient while I learn your world." After breakfast, they stepped outside into the soft morning breeze. The sun was brighter now, rising higher over the trees. Birds chirped in the distance, and the hum of old drones echoed faintly from the colony beyond the hills. Ciliara knelt down, her fingers brushing the grass. "This world, it breathes," she whispered. "I feel life pulsing beneath my skin." Marek watched her, fascinated. Everything she did was full of wonder, like a child seeing the world for the first time, but there was wisdom behind her eyes. 1,000 years of space travel couldn't teach someone how to feel this connected. It had to come from within. They spent the day walking through the woods near his home. She asked about everything, the trees, the sky, the insects buzzing in the air. At one point she reached out and caught a butterfly on her fingertip, staring at it as if it were a rare gem. "So delicate," she said, "and yet it flies, without fear." He laughed. "That's just nature. It doesn't know it's small." She turned to him, her voice quiet. "Like you." "Me? You are small in frame, compared to some species," she said, stepping closer. "But your presence, it feels large. It fills the air. I felt it even before I saw you." Marek's cheeks warmed. "You're really something, you know?" Her eyes locked with his, and for a second, The world felt completely still. They sat beneath a tall willow tree as evening approached. Marek leaned back against the bark, his shoulder brushing hers. "I still don't get it," he said after a while. "Why me? Why come all this way for someone you've never met?" Ciliara took a breath. "I searched many stars, many minds. Yours was the first I felt peace in. You didn't try to pretend. You were quiet, kind, alone, but not bitter. That's not exactly romantic," he joked. She smiled and placed her hand on his chest. "But it is real, and that is rare." His heart thumped beneath her palm. The moment stretched between them, soft and fragile. "I don't know if I'm ready for this," he admitted. "Marriage, bonding, whatever comes next." She leaned in closer, her forehead gently resting against his. "Then we'll go slow, step by step, together." Marek closed his eyes. For once, he didn't feel alone. As twilight wrapped around them, she whispered, "Will you hold me again tonight?" He nodded, his voice barely above a whisper. "Yeah, I'd like that." And as the stars blinked into the sky above, the human and the alien walked back to the house, two hearts beginning to beat in rhythm. Rain pattered softly on the rooftop as night wrapped the world in mist. Marek stirred from sleep, blinking in the dim glow of his room. The warmth beside him told him she was still there. Ciliara's presence had grown familiar already, like a melody that lingered long after the song ended. He turned his head. She was watching him, her eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. Her head rested on her folded arms, body tucked beneath his blanket, though she didn't seem to need it. "Do you always wake before me?" he asked sleepily. "I do not sleep as you do," she said, "but I rest near you because your heartbeat soothes mine." Marek gave a sleepy chuckle. "That's a poetic way of saying I snore." She smiled. "If that is what you call it, then your snoring is beautiful." He rolled over to face her more fully, his arm brushing her side. Her skin had a warmth to it now, unlike the faint glow from their first night. There was a sense of closeness between them that didn't need words. "Ciliara," he said softly, "I don't know how this bond of yours works, but I feel something, like you're wrapping yourself around me in ways I can't explain." Her eyes flickered with starlight. "The connection is beginning to deepen. We are becoming more aware of each other. Can you feel what I feel right now?" "Not exactly, but I sense the color of your emotions, the warmth, the pull." Marek swallowed. "And what about you? What do you feel?" She leaned closer, her fingers gently tracing the line of his jaw. "Curiosity, comfort, a desire to know your world, your body, your soul." His breath caught. Ciliara's fingers moved slowly, reverently, like she was learning him through touch. Not in hunger, but with awe, like she found his humanness beautiful. "You're not afraid of me?" he asked. "I have seen warlords, beasts, void creatures. None frightened me. But you, Marek, you are kind, and kindness is more dangerous. It can unravel me." He reached up, covering her hand with his. Her fingers fit between his like they were shaped for one another. The warmth of her palm sent a tingle through his chest. "Why did you really choose Earth?" he asked. "There are hundreds of worlds. You could have picked someone stronger, wealthier." Ciliara tilted her head, thoughtful. "Many Arindi chose warriors, scientists, leaders. I chose you because you carry sorrow, but wear it quietly. You do not seek praise, you simply live. That is powerful." Marek turned his head toward the ceiling, letting her words soak in. No one had ever said something like that to him before. Not with such honesty. He wasn't used to being seen. They spent the morning indoors, the rain making it cozy. Marek worked on a small drone in the corner while Ciliara watched from the couch, her head tilted, absorbing everything he did. "You fix broken things with such focus," she said. "Does it calm you?" "It helps me think," he replied. Putting things back together gives me a sense of control. Do you think you can put me back together too? He looked at her. She wasn't smiling now. Her voice was soft, almost unsure. "I don't think you're broken," he said. "I've lost everything I knew," she whispered. "My planet, my people scattered. I was sent to bond for survival, not for love. But now, being near you, it feels different than I expected." He crossed the room and sat beside her, careful but close. "You don't have to pretend with me," he said. "You don't have to be perfect." She turned to him slowly. "Nor do you." Then, as if something invisible passed between them, their hands found each other again. This time, they held on tighter. Later, they shared tea. Ciliara seemed fascinated by the steam, letting it curl around her fingers. She tried sipping it, wrinkled her nose, and laughed. It was a sound like wind chimes, light and unexpected. "I'll learn to like it," she said. "You don't have to force anything," Marek replied with a grin. "Tea's not for everyone." They sat by the window as rain slid down the glass. Her head rested gently on his shoulder, and for the first time in years, Marek didn't feel like a man living alone in the shadows of machines. He felt like someone beginning a story. A strange one, yes, but real. That evening, Ciliara asked him to teach her about human courtship. "Our way is different," she explained. "Our bindings are chosen by the elders. We never got to chase the feeling. But I want to understand." Marek scratched the back of his neck, embarrassed. "Well, humans date. We talk, we laugh, we spend time together. And sometimes we give little gifts." Gifts. He picked up a small silver screw from his workbench, one with intricate etching, and handed it to her. "It's nothing fancy, but I made this years ago. I never found a use for it." Ciliara cradled it like a gem. "Then it's precious, because you saved it. And now, you've given it to me." She leaned forward and kissed his cheek. Her lips were soft, cool like dew, and her touch made the world blur around him. Not rushed, not demanding, just one simple electric kiss, and when she pulled back, her voice was steady. "I want to learn how to love like a human." And Marek, heart racing, simply whispered, "Then I'll show you." The next day, the sun returned, painting the sky in soft blues and golds. Marek and Ciliara walked through the forest path that circled his small home. The storm had passed, but the earth still smelled fresh and damp. Drops clung to leaves like tiny jewels. Ciliara walked barefoot, her silver toes brushing the mossy ground. She looked around with wonder, touching tree trunks, tasting the air, listening to birds. "Everything here is loud with life," she murmured. "Even the silence speaks." Marek smiled, hands in his pockets as he walked beside her. "Earth's not perfect, but it has a way of growing on you." "It already has," she replied, glancing at him with those glowing eyes. They found a small clearing and sat on a fallen log. Sunlight filtered through the trees in golden beams, catching in her hair. She looked like a dream come alive. "I read more about your traditions last night," Ciliara said. "Human weddings, bonding customs, rituals, kisses. You do it all to promise love." He chuckled. "Some people take it seriously. Others just do it for a party." "And you? Which are you?" Marek paused, thoughtful. I believe in the promise part. Love's not a thing you say once. It's something you keep choosing every day." Ciliara seemed to take those words into her soul. Her gaze softened. Then I wish to promise too. Not as an alien, as your partner. Her hand reached for his. He held it gently, brushing his thumb over the back of her hand. In the quiet, they spoke without words. Later that afternoon, Ciliara surprised him by wearing a dress she found in his storage, something from his late mother tucked away for years. It didn't quite fit the way it was meant to, but it draped over her like water. Marek's breath caught. "You look beautiful," he said, stunned. She twirled once, smiling. "I wish to wear something from your people, to feel closer to you." Marek stepped forward, brushing a strand of her hair behind her ear. "You already are." That evening, Ciliara insisted on making something to share, even if she couldn't eat it herself. She used his tools and ingredients like a curious child and managed to bake oddly shaped but sweet-smelling rolls with a hint of spice. When he took a bite, his eyes widened. "This is amazing!" "I followed your notes," she said proudly, "and added some of my own flavor." "Ciliara's secret spice?" "Something close," she said with a grin, her lips curving in that mysterious, captivating way. They cleaned up together. She suddenly stopped and turned to him. "Will you show me how to dance?" "Dance? Yes. In the records I saw, humans celebrate love with movement. I wish to feel it too." He laughed. All right. He pushed a few chairs aside and pulled up a simple melody from his old device. It played a slow, soothing tune, one his parents used to dance to. Marek held out his hand. "Come here." Ciliara stepped into his arms like it was the most natural thing. Her body was cool and smooth, fitting against his like water flowing into a stream bed. He guided her slowly, one hand on her waist, the other holding her hand. They moved in a slow rhythm, turning gently in the soft glow of the lamps. "You're a fast learner," he whispered. "I am only following your heartbeat," she replied. The music wrapped around them and their steps became slower, less structured. She pressed closer, resting her head against his chest. "This feels like belonging," she whispered. "It does," he agreed, tightening his arm around her. As the last note played, Ciliara lifted her head. Her eyes sparkled like twin stars. "Marek, I want to give you something," she said. He looked at her curiously. "You already have?" "No," she said softly. "Something more. My kind call it the echo binding. It's done only once in a lifetime. A mark of trust, of forever." "What does it mean?" "It means I won't just stay by your side. I'll carry your heartbeat in mine no matter where I go, even across galaxies." His breath caught. "And you're sure? About me?" She touched his chest, just above his heart. "I've never been more certain of anything." Slowly, she leaned in, pressing her lips to his in a tender, unhurried kiss. It was warm, soft, and full of something deeper than desire, something sacred. And as their lips met, Marek felt something inside him shift. A gentle warmth spread through his body, not painful, not overwhelming, just real, like threads weaving between their souls. A feeling he'd never known before. When they parted, Ciliara's forehead rested against his. "It's done," she whispered. "We are bound now." Marek blinked, dazed. "Is it always like that?" "No," she said softly. "Only when—" "The bond is true." And in that quiet moment, in a small cabin far from the noise of the world, a lonely human and a lost alien made something beautiful, a connection beyond space, beyond species, something rare, something real. The stars were out that night, scattered like diamonds across the sky. Marek stood in the open field behind his home, feeling the cool air on his skin, his thoughts still spinning from the kiss, from the binding. He touched his chest, where her lips had rested. Something was different. He couldn't explain it, but he felt fuller, like her presence had settled deep inside him. Behind him, the screen door creaked open. Ciliara stepped out, wrapped in a soft blanket he had given her earlier. The wind caught her hair, and the starlight made her skin shimmer faintly. "You feel it too," she said, voice quiet. He nodded. "I've never felt anything like it. It's not just emotion, is it?" "No, it is resonance," she said, stepping beside him. "The binding doesn't just tie souls, it tunes them. So even in silence you'll feel me. Even if I'm far away, a part of me will echo in you." Marek took her hand. "Then I hope you never go far." Ciliara smiled, tilting her head to rest on his shoulder. "Not unless you come with me." They stood together in silence for a long time, breathing the same air, hearts steady, connected. Then she looked up at him again, her expression more serious now. "There is something else you should know." Marek turned to face her fully. "What? Is it?" "Our bond. It changes me. Physically, emotionally. The closer I get to you, the more human I become." He frowned. "Is that dangerous?" She shook her head. "Not dangerous, but strange. I find myself craving warmth, touch, taste. I felt hunger today, for food, for your voice. I cried watching a sunset. I never cried before." Marek reached up, brushing her cheek gently. "I think that's beautiful." "It is terrifying," she whispered. "But beautiful too." He leaned closer, forehead resting against hers. "We'll go through it together, one step at a time." A tear slid down her cheek, and he caught it with his thumb. It shimmered faintly, like liquid light. "Is this what love feels like for your kind?" she asked. "Yeah," he whispered. "The real kind." She nodded slowly, breathing in his scent. "Then I understand now why your species survives. Not just with strength, but with hearts that hold galaxies." They stayed close that night, curled together on the small couch, watching old Earth movies. Ciliara asked questions about everything. Why humans cried during weddings, what cake tasted like, how people fell in love without knowing each other first. Marek answered everything with patience, sometimes teasing, sometimes thoughtful. At one point, she leaned her head on his shoulder and whispered, "I would have chosen you, even without the bonding law." He looked down at her. "Really?" "Yes," she said simply. "Because you gave me something no one ever has. You listened. You stayed." He kissed her forehead, feeling her melt into his side. "Then I guess I made the right choice too." The following morning, the official message from the Arundi Council arrived, sealed, formal, expecting confirmation of the bonding. Marek looked at Ciliara. "Are you sure you're ready?" She smiled, eyes bright. "I've already bound my soul. All that's left is ceremony." They submitted the confirmation together. A week later, an envoy from the Arundi arrived for a small private ceremony. It wasn't like a traditional Earth wedding. There were no flowers, no guests, no white dress. But there was something more powerful. Marek stood facing Ciliara in the field behind his home. Two Arundi elders floated behind her in shimmering robes, hands raised, speaking ancient words in their musical language. When the light touched their joined hands, Ciliara's glow deepened, a gentle aura of silver blue wrapping around them both. "You are now one," the elder said. "Two stars aligned in fate, human and Arundi, bonded beyond worlds." As they kissed again, under the open sky, Marek felt the universe tilt gently. Not in fear, in love. And what stunned him most wasn't the alien customs, or the binding magic, or even the soul-deep connection. What stunned him was how natural. It all felt like maybe, just maybe, he'd been waiting his whole life for a woman from another world to come crash into his quiet corner of Earth and show him what it meant to truly belong.